Should be. Hi Pratham, thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview. Good to have you here. Before we get started, why don't you tell me a bit about yourself?
Thank you, Srishti, for having me here. Um, uh, my name is Pratham Sharma, and I'm a dispute resolution specialist and a hardcore litigating lawyer, as they say. It's been 7 odd years since I've been in the part of this legal profession. I am the founding partner of Ogra Lids Law Offices, where we cater to clients of with various kind of uh, problems, and we provide solutions to not just only one field of law, but everything and anything under the sun, be it civil law, criminal, matrimonial, corporate, advisory. And our job starts from the very basics. So we provide services, consultancy and advisory services from the very beginning, where we try to avoid disputes as much as we can. So we don't only provide dispute resolution services, but we also try and foresee the disputes which may arise in the future and try to overcome or take necessary actions and advise clients on taking necessary actions which may, avoid the chances of dispute happening in the future.
Okay, great. So the topics and the questions I'm about to ask you are right up your alley. Okay. So my first question is, what is alternate dispute resolution?
ADR, ADR, let's say, is something which is globally accepted and recognized, and this is the most cost effective, efficient way of handling and catering to disputes,
Mhm.
as compared to your conventional uh, court system and litigation methods, wherein disputes are referred to courts, and the courts are dealing with, and there's a formal procedure involved, and there's a judge sitting there. So alternate dispute resolution is the most effective, I must say, and the most upcoming and growing dispute resolution mechanism. Uh, Parties these days and litigants these days prefer ADR methods over the conventional court system. It has it not only because it's cost effective, but it is also efficient, personal. Parties have the right to choose their forum and choose the way they want their settlement, their disputes to be settled. So ADR, like I said, is also, we can also use appropriate dispute resolution mechanism. We can also say ADR also stands for appropriate dispute resolution mechanism. Since this freedom of choice, you can choose the forum or choose the way or the means through which you can settle all your disputes. And it has not only been given global recognition, like I already mentioned earlier, but in Indian law as well, and it is growing. And I kid you not, the way it's growing, it has been also accepted by the Indian legal system. Section 89, to be specific, in the Civil Procedure Code, where they've they've stated that the court's power to settle matters outside the court, and it got notified in 2002. And but obviously, you know since the whole concept of ADR is to reduce the burden of courts, where the litigation, we all know, it's so expensive and it's tedious and it's taking, and at times, litigants get frustrated, whereas ADR comes in and ensures that there's more fluency. There's everything is expedited. Like I said, like I already said, saves a lot of time and a lot of money. It's a cost-effective method and adopted by everyone, from individuals to corporates to government bodies, and it's really, really booming.
What are the types of ADRs? Like if you had to tell me what are the four forms and the means of ADR?
So ADR in India, there are four forms of ADR per se. First is negotiation.
Mhm.
Second is your arbitration.
Mhm.
Third is mediation.
Mhm.
And fourth is conciliation. And there's one more, we can say, lok adalats, the system of lok adalats, if you're familiar with. So I'll just give a little gist about each and everything. So negotiation is nothing. It's just where two parties sit and decide and settle their disputes. There are several rounds of negotiations involved, and there's no formal procedure, and there's no binding effect to it unless and until parties come to a settlement. So there's no enforceable right that comes in. So in negotiation, two parties, just a informal way of negotiating. Each party puts in their bargain. Each party tries to um, give in their best possible solution to the problem. Now we move on to arbitration. Arbitration is the most widely, most prominent, and globally accepted uh, dispute resolution mechanism. It's mostly popular in the Western. I mean, its origin is from the Western countries, and nowadays it's being referred and chosen by a lot of parties in India as well. In the Indian legal system, it has gained recognition, and it is governed by the Arbitration and Conciliation Act, and where parties can refer their matters to a sole arbitrator or an arbitral tribunal uh, on if they agree in writing uh, to refer any disputes which may arise or in the future in contract, which we call the arbitration clause or the arbitration agreement. And there is there's a proper format. It's somewhat related or similar to the procedure in terms of what happens in your traditional courts, where there's a statement of defense, there's a claim, there's a statement of defense to that, then there's submission of evidence, then appreciation of evidence, recording of witness, and then thereafter final arguments and the final judgment, which we call it or which we term it as an award, an arbitral award, which is somewhat similar to what happens in court. But obviously, since arbitration has to be concluded within a specific time frame, which is as per the Arbitration Conciliation Act, the time frame given is 1 year. 6 months max extension can be taken, uh, and it follows a procedure. The rules of evidence do apply here, and the court intervention is much, much, much less. The court can only intervene when there's some kind of a dispute with respect to understanding the arbitration agreement, interpreting the arbitration clause per se, or let's say where the parties are unable to agree to appointment of an arbitrator. So they can use the help of courts. And secondly, the courts can intervene only when the award is challenged. So if you say that an arbitration award cannot be challenged, it is binding, yes, but can it be challenged? Yes. And it can only be challenged before the appropriate court of law, where who has the power to adjudicate upon the arbitration award. And next we move to mediation. Mediation, I must say that it too has gained momentum and widely recognized yet again, like I said, on international levels. And mediation is the process where a dispute is either when I'll tell, since mediation happens in various stages. So stage one is one, if a matter is already pending before the court of law, there the court thinks that there can be a probable settlement between the parties. The dispute can be settled, or the parties themselves agree to refer their dispute to a mediator. Then under section 89, like I said, they have the power, the court has the power to refer the matter to mediation, a mediation cell which is annexed with the court. And there are qualified mediators sitting there who help mediate the parties, mediate the dispute, and help them uh, to come to an amicable settlement, and that settlement, once arrived at, is binding, and it is also to be treated as a decree of a civil court. Now, second kind of mediation is what is again another growing trend, which is widely recognized in the Western parts. For example, Italy, US, where whenever there's a chance of a dispute or whenever a dispute arises, so the parties have an option of approaching mediation, or approach the have the power, or sorry, not the power, but say have the right to reach to an appropriate authority to help them, which will help them mediate or come to an amicable settlement before they reach courts, or before they plan to settle their disputes via litigation. Now, in India, pre-litigation mediation has been given slowly, steadily started given recognition to. In fact, let me tell you one thing. In 2019, India was amongst the 46 countries who had signed the Singapore Convention. The Singapore Convention, in a gist, if I must say, was about making and formulating rules and regulations with respect to settlement of international trade disputes and commercial transactions on the global level via mediation, by opting for the means of mediation and giving enforcement and giving legal meaning to the mediation settlement arrived at via mediation process in the international market, and then when we talk about the international disputes that come in. So in case of a pre litigation mediation, the outcome or the settlement that comes is has been given recognition has been given recognition under the Act of Arbitration and Conciliation. Rather, it is now to be termed as equivalent to a award passed by an arbitral tribunal. So when it comes to the binding effect of these pre-litigation mediation, now these any outcome will be treated as if an award has been passed by an arbitral tribunal. Though in India we don't have a separate statute for mediation or for pre-litigation mediation, which we need, but the major areas, or rather where pre-litigation mediation can really be fruitful and helpful in settling disputes, because those are the areas where the disputes, where a lot of stakes are involved, high stakes are involved, and parties are involved into voluminous amount of litigation, and which is time consuming and obviously not at all cost friendly. They are so expensive. So the Commercial Courts Act 2015 was enacted, and in 2018 there came an amendment where Section 12A was introduced, which stated that any dispute which is classified as a commercial dispute, in that case, there every party, or in case of a dispute, they must go for a mandatory pre-litigation mediation, and the body has to be created, the mediating body has to be created under the Legal Service Authorities Act of various states, and any outcome from that will be considered to be, like I said, equivalent to an arbitral award. And 3 months time is given for the parties to and for the forum to settle the dispute, and if that happens, well and good. If not, only then, once it's frustrated, then only parties can approach litigation or approach a civil court of law and refer their matters to it. So yeah, that's what is pre-litigation mediation, and this is also a growing norm. And I must say, personally, I try to incorporate such clauses in the agreements, and I consult and I give advices to my clients as well, that try to avoid litigation as much as you can. Try to have an amicable settlement to any dispute. Even the High Court has proper infrastructure and has designated a body where any matter, not just commercial matter, but any matter, be it matrimonial, be it real estate, be it or for let's say uh, 138 matters per se, that too can be mediated, and mediation settlement can be arrived at. All these matters can be referred to the pre-litigation mediation cell in the Delhi High Court, and parties can choose to settle their matter. So like I said, it's cost effective, it's time saving, it's it expedites the process of solving disputes. So it's doing a lot. And next we move on to um,
Conciliation.
Lok Adalat.
Adalat, yeah.
Lok
Conciliation
Adalat.
is the same as mediation. Is there any difference?
Well, yeah. So let's just say conciliation, mediation, sort of they the process in essence they're the same, but conciliation is a proper, it has a proper statute and it has been defined. It's a little formal as compared to mediation. There's a wide difference per se. If I may go on with it, in conciliation, what happens is um, parties two parties have to agree to refer to their dispute, refer their dispute to a conciliator. A conciliator again is a third party. It can either be one conciliator, or they can be two conciliators with each parties having their own conciliator, or three conciliators, wherein each party will engage one conciliator of their own, and then the third conciliator is appointed by the two conciliators, which is somewhat similar to what happens in arbitration. If we have an arbitral tribunal comprising of three arbitrators, so each party appoints one arbitrator, and the third arbitrator is appointed by the arbitrators themselves. So in that process, what happens is, in conciliation, the conciliator invites facts, invites statements from each party, where each party gives a gist of the dispute and probable outcome or probable solution to it. Both the parties provide it, and then the conciliator, if need be, may call for further documents or may call for more information. And once it has all the material with it to solve the dispute, then it provides a settlement. A settlement comes from the conciliator himself, and if both the parties agree to it, then it is signed and agreed, and then, like I said, it too is given binding effect under the law, and it is to be treated as an arbitral award under section 30 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act. Whereas it is not the case in mediation. In mediation, the purpose is to mediate. The mediator's job is to mediate differences and help parties reach an amicable solution. The mediator will not suggest outcomes, unlike the conciliator. The conciliator takes documents, considers facts, and then gives a solution for both the parties to agree on. Whereas in mediation, it's a little different from conciliation. The job of the mediator is just to mediate, is just to help parties reach an amicable settlement, and nothing more, nothing less. So there's no the mediator is not entitled to ask for records or call for documents from the parties as a proof. Though in conciliation also it's not the case, but it is always the discretion of the conciliator. If he requires certain documents or certain more facts from the parties, then he can call for it and propose a settlement. Mediator, on the other hand, will only help parties reach an amicable settlement, reduce all their differences, and once it's done, then writes down all the terms of the settlement which the parties have arrived at. Whereas in conciliation, everything is provided by the conciliator. So whatever terms of the contract or terms of settlement is given frame and given detailed by the conciliator himself. So this is the difference between mediation and conciliation. And lastly comes Lok Adalat. Lok Adalat is totally opposite to the Western mechanism of arbitration. It is completely Indian in terms of its origin and approach. It comes from way back from the panchayat system, where mock courts are created, and there's no per se procedure or per se any legal principle that has to be followed over there. What is to be seen is the parties appear before the Lok Adalat, and the Lok Adalat comprises of any legal member or a retired judge, or at times I've also appeared and witnessed Lok Adalats where sitting ASJ level judges or ADJ level judges have also presided over the Lok Adalat and have helped in settlement of disputes between the parties. And the only thing which the distinguishing factor between Lok Adalats and your conventional court system is that conventional court system works on the statutory procedures. In civil court, the civil procedure code applies. In criminal court, the criminal code of procedure applies. Right. Whereas in Lok Adalats, it is the only statute involved here is the Legal Service Authorities Act. All right. And the way of functioning is that it is solely based on the uh, the ADR principles of mediation, negotiation, and conciliation. So these three are adopted by the Lok Adalat, the presiding members of the Lok Adalat, to help the parties in coming to an amicable settlement and reaching a settlement. So these are the forms of ADR in India, and which, and like I said, it's booming. So I must also add, these Lok Adalats happen periodically. So there's a notification that comes every time, wherein specific dates are given for Lok Adalats, and these Lok Adalats happen in a proper court setting, but with a little essence of informalness into it.
So again, I'm asking you something based on your opinion. Do you think ADR is going to be a useful tool for resolving disputes that are arising due to COVID-19?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I think since, please understand this, that already courts are overburdened with matters and disputes, and due to this COVID-19, because of the lockdown and because of this quarantine, the burden has doubled, because for so many months, of so many weeks, so many matters, each day the courts hear at least on an average 60 to 100 matters a day. On an average, I'm saying the numbers can increase, it can fluctuate for sure. On an average, each court, I'm saying, and various courts comprise of multiple courts within, and each court takes at least 60 to 100 matters on an average a day. So you understand the pendency of cases, and so many parties, so many disputes, so much money at stake. So the pendency is already too much on the courts, and with this COVID-19, they've added to it, or they've added to the misery of the court, if I may be allowed to use this word. So ADR now here comes in, and people who have any problems or any rights have been affected, or any disputes or any differences that have come during COVID-19, I suggest and I strongly support people and litigants should opt for ADR methods such as mediation, or conciliation procedures, or arbitrations. I think if this is done, then court will have an opportunity to recover from this pile up and the pendency that they already have right now. And another thing is that since ADR methods are cost effective and are more uh, expeditious in terms of solving problems. I feel people now also, since we're already mentally so frustrated and so perturbed with this ongoing scenario, the economy falling and businesses shutting down and no almost negligible amount of source of income. So people herein would actually require or would actually want something which is quick and efficient. And ADR methods have proven with time and again that whatever disputes that have been settled via sources of via the mechanism of ADR, they have, as compared to orders or decisions of the conventional courts, have more binding effect to it, because parties have been doing it in private. They have had a more active, proactive role in achieving those settlements or those decisions. So the binding effect of the decisions as well is much greater to as compared to any order or any decision of the court of law. So I strongly suggest that ADR methods should be adopted uh, during these difficult times, because courts are already overburdened, and ADR methods will give you a expeditious process of uh, solving your problems and all the disputes that you have.
Okay, a
So I
related
think, yeah, one must definitely.
and also a related question. Do you think online arbitration and mediation can be a useful tool as well?
Definitely, most definitely. I think the blessing that has come in COVID-19 is the digitization of courts and functioning of judiciary. If you must be aware that right now also the courts are functional, but they're only hearing urgent matters. And urgent matters, and for those urgent matters also, the lawyers or the litigants, they don't have to appear in court. These hearings are happening virtually via digital platforms, online via video conferencing. And I believe that ADR also should now be done via digitalization, by using online tools such as Zoom, Zoho, and various other tools that can be used for ADR. And I think COVID-19 has definitely come as a blessing, because it has now also removed all kinds of hurdles and obstacles that litigants were facing, and lawyers were facing per se, and the courts were facing the challenge before them, that at times it used to be difficult for courts to have a hearing or listen to each party, or the for lawyers to be able to appear before the court on time. And litigants were, interested litigants, they wouldn't get an opportunity for some reason because of the distance. Probably if I'm sitting in, let's say, in any small town, and there's a matter which is going on in probably in any of the courts which is at a good distance from me, and commuting cannot, can be a little bit of an hassle. So digitization of courts has actually helped remove such differences, such obstacles and hindrances. So if the courts have adopted it, then I think ADR too should be done. I think it won't be difficult. It'll be a matter of convenience for all the parties, where if you have a mediation process happening right in front of you, where a mediator is sitting online, and both the parties are in front of the mediator, and trying for an amicable settlement or for an arbitration for that matter. If an arbitrator is or the arbitration tribunal is virtually available, and via video conferencing and via these apps, parties are able to continue their solution to the various problems that they're facing, or the disputes that arise. So I definitely feel that arbitration, mediation, and at least conciliation, these three can definitely, in my opinion per se, should definitely be digitized, or rather acceptance should be given to digital platforms as well, because it's again, like I said, it's not only a matter of convenience, but at the same time, because of the effect of COVID-19, I'm telling you something which I feel that it's the effects of it. Even if we find a vaccine, the effects of COVID-19 are going to stay with us for at least a year, 2 or 3 years maybe. And in the coming trend, I feel social distancing will become a mandatory trend which is to be followed. And what other platform than digital platform, these online video conferences, and that can obviously help in complying with the social distancing norms, and people would actually feel safer and would feel better. And on top of that, let's not forget that any outcome or any solution via arbitration or conciliation or mediation, it has a legal binding. So why not? Why not? And it's a growing trend. And since court is, I'm also telling you one more thing, that since I also feel that right now, uh, another big problem the legal fraternity is facing is the lack of judges. We have a lot of cases, we have a lot of litigants, but we have only n number of limited amount of judges to adjudicate all those disputes. So if we can have virtual courts, we can also have virtual um, mechanisms for ADR, and which will definitely help in bringing fluency in the process of litigation or solution to these disputes, and help litigants in a expeditious method of solving their problems and the difficulties that they're facing.
Okay, thank you, Pratham. It was a very insightful interview. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this, and we hope to see you on this forum again soon.
Yes, yes, please. Thank you so much for having me once again. Thank you.